It's a pleasure to be here with you, with everyone listening.
We are super excited to have you here and do this interview for the Panic community.
Absolutely. I can't wait to talk about Shadowlands and everything World of Warcraft.
So the first question is about Torghast. We've been testing Torghast quite a lot in the alpha, and it feels super fun. Leveling from 25 to 72 took us about 8 hours. It was hard at the beginning, and then relatively easy after collecting enough anima power. So what are your plans for the tower in terms of number of floors, maybe checkpoints to start in a specific floor, difficulty or time?
Yeah, I'm curious about checkpoints.
Yes, so the long-term goal for Torghast definitely is not runs that take multiple hours where you're struggling to, find time to do it in a single session. This is, Torghast is still in early stages in a lot of ways. We wanted to get the system up on the alpha servers to start getting feedback right away about what's working and what's not, and the moment-to-moment combat, and the pacing, and which powers were exciting, and which types of enemies and challenges felt most fulfilling. And we haven't put as much effort into the meta progression throughout the tower as a whole. I think one of the fun aspects of these types of roguelike games is that as you get more powers, you do get stronger to an extent. And if your build comes together and you have some really strong synergies, it might feel like, maybe during the middle of the run, you're having an easier time than you were at the start. And that's actually part of the goal of putting together a build. But of course, if that continues forever in an open-ended way, and it's just getting easier and easier the farther you're going, well, that's an indication that our scaling is off. And that would turn Torghast into less of a test of skill and ingenuity and more of an endurance test, where really getting to the highest floor is just a question of how much time you can spend. So we'll have a lot of continued changes coming over the course of the alpha, looking to condense the length of runs so that you can feel like you had a victory, you accomplished something, you got your build together, you got to crush some things with it, but then your run isn't going on forever and ever.
Okay, that's good. So they probably don't have the plans yet.
So we wanted to know if there's going to be any achievement system linked to the tower, maybe getting to a certain floor or not using some anima powers. Do you have anything like that in mind?
Definitely. I would expect there'll be a full suite of achievements for Torghast. Generally, the way achievements work is they're one of the last things we do in development. We want to make sure we understand
you put no effort into them.
The feature, its full extent, how players are going to be playing it and interacting with it.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we'll come up with a range of achievements that reflect everything from
that's awesome to see.
Milestones like reaching a certain floor.
That is great.
To completion of gathering different powers, beating all the different bosses, to some fun personal challenges and accomplishments there, just like we've seen for other types of fun.
So we know that one of the main rewards of Torghast is the new legendary items.
Yeah.
Where will we craft them exactly? Is there like a minimum floor the players have to reach to be able to craft them?
So again, this isn't something that's available in alpha just yet, but we're hoping to have it up there in a few weeks.
Yeah, I want to see what that actually looks like.
The fantasy behind how the legendaries are obtained is that actually, relatively early on in your journeys in Torghast, you will recover a key that lets you unlock a door that's near the entrance to Torghast. And in that cell, you will find this ancient rune crafter that's chained up in a room full of all kinds of
Yeah, this is the guy
devices.
that makes Frostmourne.
And the story is that we will come to learn that this is actually the smith who scribed the runes on Frostmourne. Yeah. This is the one who made the Helm of Domination that the Lich King wears.
Fuck yeah.
Or wore. Yeah. And as we, in our journeys through the tower, recover scraps of this ancient runic language, as well as some powerful fuel for the furnace used to forge the legendaries, this runesmith will be able to inscribe our items to turn them into legendaries with the powers of our choosing. So it's something that should be unlocked pretty early on in Torghast. I would expect players to see it probably the very first week of the expansion, but then unlocking and learning these different recipes and obtaining the materials to craft them will be a journey that spans the entire expansion.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it looks like time runs differently in the Shadowlands than in Azeroth. Maybe that's why Uther, Kael'thas, and other characters have been there for ages when it has been just a few years in Azeroth. How does time go by in Shadowlands?
Oh, this is your question, McConnell. About the time.
So I had to.
Nice.
So this is something I was actually asking our lead narrative designer Steve Denuser about recently, because I had this same question a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
The answer is complicated. It's not like some science fiction movies where in a black hole or something, time just moves faster.
Yeah.
But time is different in the Shadowlands. Time is a construct of order and structure, and things in the Shadowlands are more chaotic in a lot of ways. Think about how time moves in a dream to some extent, where there isn't necessarily a fixed amount of time and things can bounce around. So the souls that have been in the Shadowlands, to them, it might feel like they've been here for a very, very long time as they've gone on their own personal journeys of discovery and evolution. But it's not necessarily a 3x faster, 10x faster. Time is different. And what does that mean for our characters? Well, that's something that we'll have to see as we come out the other end of this experience.
So moving towards the Covenants.
All right.
Now.
Oh, this is the Covenant
Many
question.
players are worried of seeing that Covenant's
another one.
abilities for their classes.
All right, here we go.
Some seem to be more oriented to PvE, some others to PvP. And they're afraid that choosing a Covenant only taking into account this and not choosing the one they really like. So how are you going to work around this?
Okay, here we go.
That's the design challenge, ultimately.
Yes, it certainly is.
We feel like it's essential for the RPG core of the game, for choices to have consequences, choices to be tied into the mechanics of the game, for the journey that we take through this world to be one that helps shape what our strengths and weaknesses as characters will be. At the same time, we also clearly understand the realities of modern World of Warcraft, the community, players' expectations of their group mates,
way people play the
guild
game.
mates, of people on their arena and battleground teams. We want to make sure that no one feels like there's a wrong choice, like they've made a mistake. And so what we're looking to do over the course of alpha and beta to follow is to iterate on and balance the entire package of what a Covenant entails. Not just the active abilities, but also the soul binds that are going to reinforce them, specific legendaries that modify those Covenant abilities, and more, until we get to a point where there are strengths and weaknesses, but ideally there is never a guide that says, oh, if you're a rogue and you want a PvP,
there's always going to be a guide, though.
Because they're terrible.
That's always going to happen.
That may mean redesigning some abilities entirely.
Yeah, they're going to do that like during it.
The current set of active abilities out of players' hands as quickly as possible. This week, players will be able to use the Hard-Willed and Eldrax's Covenant abilities on certain days in Torghast, so they can start playing with them and giving us feedback before those zones are available to give us the maximum amount of time to get the system to a place where we can all be happy.
Okay. So we've seen a visual update of class trainers' hubs in Stormwind and Orgrimmar.
Okay.
Do you have any plan for class trainers to make a return and be relevant again for the new player experience?
Yeah, you never even go to your trainer anymore.
So
You're
for
right.
the new player experience, class trainers are going to be sort of near the end of that experience. That's actually where the concept of specialization,
it's like doesn't even happen.
Specialization is introduced. If you're going through Exile's Reach and coming out of that, spec isn't something that necessarily unlocks at a specific level. Doesn't matter if you spent more time in Exile's Reach or less. It's going to come at that moment. Go to your class trainer and learn about the different paths available to you as a mage or, or whatever. A change that we've made in Shadowlands is that players no longer start with a specific spec. I think that's a big part of us trying to get back to class identity, and class is the foundation for everything.
Oh yeah.
And today,
because you start as a DM as a hunter.
I believe you're a balanced druid at level 1, and then at level 10 you earn the ability to have these different specializations. Today in Shadowlands, you're just a druid with a mix of everything, a little bit of
and that's way better in my opinion. I think that is way fucking better.
You choose which path you want to take, and that choice happens at the class training. There are no current plans for sending you back to your class trainer later on at max level. I'm not sure that needing to go back just to learn skills every time you level is the right fit for the modern game. But we'd love to find a way to make them.
Yeah, I think going back to learn your talents maybe would be good.
General theme of class identity.
Yeah, or something. What happened to Lordaeron and Teldrassil?
So players are wondering what happened with Lordaeron and Teldrassil.
Okay,
after
here we go.
the Battle of Azeroth. Are we going to see more about them in Shadowlands? Are
when do we get Lordaeron back?
Going to find a new home in the expansion?
So there are definitely big unresolved elements there. What has come of Bug City, and what is the future of the Night Elves? We're seeing a piece of that story for sure in and expressed through Tyrande.
Oh yeah, with the cinematic. For the
for
scenario.
her, the war has not yet finished, right? Battle for Azeroth is still
Yeah.
going on in Tyranda's mind. Her people have suffered an incredible injustice and tragedy, and she's out for vengeance, and justifiably so. And so, through her, we'll definitely see an expression of the Night Elves' pain and agony and yearning for something new. We may encounter any of those who fell in the Battle for Azeroth as we go into the Shadowlands.
Yeah, I'll be curious about that.
Now, actually resolving what is the new homeland of the Night Elves, if there is one, and so forth, isn't something that really is a good fit for the Shadowlands.
Yeah.
Because we're spending time in...
I just want order on
this
back.
land
That's the
of-
only thing I
of
really
death.
care about.
But going forward, we know it's something that we need to move on with and resolve.
Yeah.
And we have some thoughts, but you're not going to see those come
So
to
that's for the
fruition just
expansion after this.
Okay, cool. So several heritage armor of the classic
Okay.
races are still not developed. Will we see them in the in Shadowlands? And if so, which one could we expect first?
What?
I think Ian was having a technical issue. We should be
Oh,
right back.
okay. His
Sorry.
mic's broken. All right, just give it a second.
Should I?
Yeah,
ask
his
again?
mic died.
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're talking about heritage armors. Some of the classic races, they don't have them yet, and the question was, will we see them in Shadowlands? And if so, which one could we expect first?
Yeah, makes sense.
So yes, heritage armor is something that almost falls outside of any given expansion story. We've largely done them in, or many of them have fallen in top 5 patches. It's something we want to continue doing until all of the classic races have heritage armors to earn. So
Yeah, I want to see
I
the
just can look
human
at the list
heritage
of
armor.
remaining
That's the main
races,
thing, man.
make some guesses as to what lies ahead. We want to continue doing that over the course of Shadowlands patches for sure.
Okay. So in a previous interview, you talked about an adventure system that is going to be for the mission table in Shadowlands. Could you share more about this system?
Not too much more right now, unfortunately. We should have it. We're hoping to have it on Alpha.
mission
maybe
table?
in a month. The general goal
Who
with
gives a
the
shit?
evolution of the mission system
Who gives a
is
fuck, man?
frankly to add some depth to it. I think we've been using
Who
variations
cares?
of the same matching counter system where your goal is just to get to 100%, and it's a problem that's very easily
Yeah,
solved by
it's not that
add-ons, and just has some RNG in it, as opposed to you
Yeah.
feeling like you're getting the bonus reward as a reflection of a smart choice you made. It's just it's a bit of luck and
Yeah.
simple matching. So we're looking to shift to something that better captures the fantasy of what combat means in WoW, which isn't just a coin flip and determining win or loss, but rather an encounter between a party of champions and a group of enemies playing out in some simplified mechanical terms. So
That's
we'll have
cool.
a lot more to talk about.
Yeah,
as
that's actually
that hits
cool.
Alpha, probably next month.
It's way better than
But
just clicking
we're
a button.
excited about the
Fuck
evolution
yeah.
of the system to try to add more depth to it.
All right.
Okay.
Oh.
So we have now a couple of questions about legendary items. We have seen that crafting professions can make legendary items in the alpha.
Yeah.
How are professions going to work when crafting legendary items in Shadowlands?
So the current plan with professions is that the only special items can be turned into legendary. You can't just take a pair of gloves you get from a dungeon or from a raid boss and bring them to the runesmith and make them a legendary. They need to be items that are made of special material that's found within the Shadowlands that has this latent power to enable that legendary potential to be activated. So what that means is you're going to need items crafted by tailors, blacksmiths, leatherworkers. Because legendaries are unique. One, we don't have to worry about some problems in the
so
past of
yeah, you
letting
can only use
crafters
one at
make
a
the most
time.
powerful items where you can just go
That's
to the
good.
auction house and buy a full set of gear. But we're really excited about the chance to give the item crafting professions really sustained purpose and importance throughout the entire Shadowlands endgame in a way that frankly hasn't been the case since.
That'd be fucking
Master of the
awesome.
Crusade.
That would be fucking amazing. Holy shit.
Dice que
Wow.
cuando se hacen los objetos. So we know that legendary items will be an important part of Shadowlands, and we know that the expansion will be also outer friendly. What are your plans for outers to be able to get also legendary items?
Yeah, that's
Do you
actually
have
a
any
good
catch-up
question.
mechanic?
They probably haven't planned this out yet. I'm assuming.
I mean, over the course of the expansion, it's likely we'll have some sort of acceleration or catch up, but I think the amount of control that players have in making these legendaries is the biggest difference from how the system played out in Legion. Where in Legion, you might need to play for months before you could get the legendaries that you felt were required for your character to play the way you wanted to play. Here, on an alt, on a fresh level 60, you can immediately start working on your legendary of choice. Obviously, you'll have to gear up and go through all those systems to be able to tackle the higher levels of Torghast in order to do that efficiently. But it should be a much more direct path. One thing we're looking at is, wherever possible, making the recipes that you earn account-wide in terms of access. So if there's a legendary that's like Tridents, let's say, where, hey, this affix, this power that you can put on an item gives you a protected shield against damage. Once you've earned that recipe on one character, the runesmith will have that recipe available on all of your characters. And you just need to get the material.
This is good. This is really good.
That's likely not going to be the case for something like a spec-specific power that modifies your Pyroblast.
Yeah.
Because a Fire Mage power isn't going to be very useful anymore.
That makes sense.
La siguiente. Y seguimos con las profesiones.
Specific stats in the item. How's it going to work? Oh, okay. This is like the
so it looks like
fossil
we can choose
crafting,
the
basically.
specific statistics for our crafted items in Shadowlands, as well as add additional components. How is this going to work? Will this be extended to proficient recipes from other expansions?
There's no way they're going to do that.
So definitely that's how Shadowlands crafting will work. In the long run, we want to introduce that system more broadly as players are leveling up, but that's not a top priority compared to making sure the Shadowlands professions are the way they should be. We might go back and revisit the others later. But yes, generally, crafters will have the ability to add optional components if you want to guarantee that an item has crit or haste on it. You can still craft without
So
those
you actually can
components,
guarantee the
and it'll have
crafting
random
items
stats
too,
used
which
to
is
today.
fucking insane.
We want to give players more control than ever before in the types of items they make.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
Oh shit.
All right. So you're going to try
that's a
to bring
badass
back
judgment
class
set. Look
armor
at that.
sets. Will their tier bonus make a return too? What can we expect?
Yeah, let's
from
see
them?
tier sets back, Ian. Come on.
So the set bonuses, I think, are the piece that we're still trying to figure out, frankly. I've already said in the past, and we're excited about later in Shadowlands, in one of our content updates, going back to 12 different class-themed sets as the reward
that'd
you
be
get from
awesome.
the raid. Of course, at the outset, we're focused
Come
on
on.
Covenant armor, and that's what the looks will reflect when Shadowlands initially launches. Bonuses are one of the reasons that we pulled back doing class sets in the first place. I think there's a couple of things that have changed about the game since they were first introduced.
Yeah,
Loot is far more widespread, but also raiding isn't the only source of endgame loot. And in a world where we want PvP, Mythic Plus, and raiding all be viable options to endgame power, set bonuses from raids seem to have the effect of making those pieces of gear head and shoulders above all the rest, but also limiting item diversity, just kind of guaranteeing that these 4 item slots are always occupied by set pieces, and even if you get a different breastplate for your Mythic Plus chest, you're never going to use that item. And that could feel frustrating and limiting.
I don't know about that.
We want, there's something cool about that idea of assembling a set, getting a powerful bonus.
I think it goes both ways.
Pieces, but we're still working through exactly how to best translate the mechanical side of it into the modern game.
I see.
PvP
So next question
only
is about
stats.
PvP. Know that we will have a vendor for PvP gear. Will itemization be similar to Battle for Azeroth, or are you bringing back PvP only stats like resilience?
We are not planning on bringing back PvP stats, so itemization will be similar to BFA.
Wow.
Really, I mean, imagine a system similar to how it would be in BFA.
There we fucking go.
Every time you filled your bar
for
Conquest, instead of just getting a specific piece, you got a token that you could take to a vendor and pick from a long list of pieces, depending on which upgrade you wanted most. That way, again, we're looking to take a lot of the systems that we've had in place and adapt them in a way that gives players more control over pursuing their rewards, shaping their characters.
That's good.
But we're looking to have gear be universally relevant to all types of the game, and not one specialized gear set just for PvP versus a different specialized gear set for raiding, the way it was a long time ago.
That sounds really good, actually. Your main.
Many players are
This is
asking
actually
if
relevant
there
to
will
me.
be some transmog requirements for
Okay, here we
Covenant's
go.
armor set. If we get one with one of our characters, will the rest be able to use those transmogs?
Let's see.
Current thinking is that in order to show off the cosmetics associated with Covenant, that character has to be a member of that Covenant. So you won't see a member of the Venthyr
That means I don't
Covenant
have to do 3 more.
riding around on the Kyrian mount, showing off the halo that the Kyrians wear and so forth. Because that's just a core part of
That's
the
probably a
fantasy
good thing.
what that Covenant entails and being a member of that Covenant.
I guess that
now,
kind of
if you
makes
have
sense.
multiple characters in the same Covenant, those cosmetic unlocks should be account-wide, like
that makes sense.
transmog or mounts usually are.
Yeah. Okay.
So it looks like with the release of Shadowlands at the end of the year, last content patch for BFA will last quite a lot. Do you plan to start the pre-expansion event a little earlier, making it a little longer?
I actually wish they would do this. Because pre-expansion...
We're still working on the pre-expansion event. Ultimately, that's mostly driven by getting our pre-patch out in the first place. And that pre-patch can only go out once all of Shadowlands is done. And so that's just the nature of the beast in terms of us managing the schedule. Though we're obviously very painfully aware that each passing week since Visions of N'Zoth is one more week for players who are looking forward to more things to do, looking forward to Shadowlands, and know that
we're very excited.
It's our obligation to get that new content to our players as quickly as we can.
That's good.
But one thing we're not going to sacrifice in that pursuit, though, is quality of the game. And so that's the balance we're trying to strike.
All right.
But we are also continuing to look at BFA.
Yeah, that's actually good to hear.
Visions of N'Zoth right now, and considering options that may give players some more goals to pursue and new rewards within the existing content to help stretch.
War mode? I don't think Blizzard cares about war mode, dude.
So about war mode,
I don't think they give a shit
for this war mode, and how are you going to compensate for possible number imbalances in Shadowlands?
Yeah, we've continued to learn a lot. War mode's continuing. We've learned a lot how it's played out over the course of BFA.
War Mauled? No.
Which types of events are better for world PvP? I think actually faction assaults, the sets of world quests that we had back in 8.1 drove a ton of great organic world PvP.
Yeah.
With Battle for Nazjatar,
I agree with that.
Rise of Ashara, we ran into a bit more faction balance issues that were kind of shown a spotlight on them.
Is that right?
And that's something we're looking to continue to build upon going forward in Shadowlands. War mode continues. We will probably have some
battle for lag
or world quest areas or PvP areas similar to those that were in Legion, where faction isn't a concern. The idea of Covenant versus Covenant is a dynamic, something we could also play up. It's not. That's one of those things that's not a core part of the lore.
Covenant versus Covenant.
The Shadowlands expansion. The Covenants aren't natural enemies who fight each other.
Yeah.
But
more free for all shit too.
Of
like that Blackrook arena was awesome.
There are probably some spaces where we could have challenges between the Covenants where you don't have to worry about faction balance as much, and we can just give people who are looking for exciting world PvP opportunities that chance.
Yeah, I think that'd be really, really cool. I like that a lot.
So some of us are still locked at home and we desperately need to play more World of Warcraft. Is there any chance you're extending the reputation buff a bit more as you did with the experience one?
Oh my god.
So
what a question.
The reputation buff, unlike experience buff, was something that was open-ended, where really you could never have too many alts, and we realized that it was the right thing to do just to keep that on throughout the rest of Battle for Azeroth.
Okay.
Reputation buff has allowed, I think, people who wanted to unlock allied races or earn flying the ability to do so and then some. We're looking at shifting to a different focus after this. We'll hopefully have some news on that in the coming days, where there's some new bonuses, also maybe permanent, that give you new goals and make it easier for your alt to get caught up in particular. And that's something we've heard a lot from people is, hey, I've leveled all of these characters to 120, but the idea of all the stuff I have to do to get my legendary cloak up to the right level, or how do I get the corruptions that I want? Those are questions that deter meaningful play on those
getting
alts.
The corruptions
and
that
we'd love
you
to
want?
make that easier for everybody who has this stable of 120s that they just want to play more but feel like they can't right
now. What the fuck?
Going back to legendary items, you mentioned a that a few weeks might be enough to get a legendary item, but will this be faster as you progress in the tower? Or how does that link with the progress in your tower?
I'm assuming it won't be.
That's something that's a specific tuning question that we still need to work through in the long term.
They have no idea, basically.
Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know that it necessarily needs to be something that gets faster, since you only can wear one legendary at a time. What you're earning with your later legendaries is additional option. If you think back to how legendaries worked in Legion, they didn't necessarily get faster and faster to earn over time. You just got a broader variety of tools that you could use for specific encounters. But once you had a couple of good legendaries, particularly by the end of the expansion, with the Awakening Essence system that allowed players
you just swap them around, which was good. I like that.
Of their choice, all you needed was a couple to be competitive,
and
then everything after that was just a bonus.
So next question, we could enjoy CGI story cinematics until patch 8.5. Can we expect this to be the case for Shadowlands, or are you going to change that?
So I think at this point, we're very fortunate to have a range of storytelling options when it comes to different types of videos or cinematics.
Answer is no.
Everything from the more hand-painted look of the Warbringers pieces that we had leading up to Battle for Azeroth, to our in-game cinematics, in-game cutscenes, to the full pre-rendered, almost movie quality ones like we saw with Sylvanas and Bolvar.
Maybe we'll get one.
We use each of those where it makes sense for the story we're trying to tell. Like in BFA, we had a very specific character-focused arc around Sarafang and Anduin and their evolution that almost felt like a continuation in a very direct way of the Siege of Lordaeron and Old Soldier before the battle. And so we wanted to finish that story out in that form. We will continue to use all of those specific media, but I don't want to spoil anything particular that's coming, except to say that I think you can expect all of those types of videos coming in support of the broader Shadowlands story.
Okay, great. So then now we're going to get everything. It'll be like BFA then. Okay. Main leaders.
So far, data mining has not shown the main leaders of its faction, and we haven't seen them in the alpha yet. We know that Durandi is there, but will the other ones be joining us in the Shadowlands too?
Okay, let's see.
In various forms, I think there are many important characters in the world of Azeroth at this point, and just as some of its greatest champions, are going into the Shadowlands, you would imagine that they too are going to try to fight to save their world and their people.
Yeah, that's what makes sense.
That will lead them to different fates, and there isn't a whole lot more that I
don't
ready
think they're
to say
do
right
time
now
lapse, guys.
that wouldn't be spoilers. And so we're excited for everybody to see together how that story unfolds and what comes of some of the major characters that you've yet to see in the alpha.
I see.
Any other names? Oh, is Arthas coming back? All right, we'll see if Ian answers this. I don't know.
So this is a little related with the other one. We know that we are going to see again some dead characters like Uther, Draka, Bash, Kalthas, and Scenarios. Is there any other name you can share with us? Maybe Arthas?
I mean, he's somewhere in there, right? I think, frankly, we want to be very careful with that particular character's legacy. I think we're certainly going to be learning more about the power that shaped the Lich King, the power that shaped the Helm, the power that shaped Frostborn.
Yeah, that's good.
And how that is all interconnected with the Realm of Death, with the Jailer's plans that have been brewing for a long time. But we also want to be respectful of one of the great characters of throughout the entire history of Warcraft lore.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
I don't think it's likely, and I wouldn't expect that we're going to be running around with Arthas and doing a whole bunch of direct Arthas interactions.
Okay,
but
good.
Will we learn more about him and his true
He's going to be a quest giver.
Yes.
Yeah, imagine him be a quest giver in Shadowlands. Oh my god.
This one is about Oribos. We haven't seen Oribos yet, but we know that it will be
I'm waiting to see what
main
this looks
capital
like.
city. We also know that Covenant's headquarters will have other features for players like soul bins or anima channeling devices. So the question is, are we going to have something like this in Oribos too? Or what other facilities will we find there to make this the main capital city? Maybe the auction house or some portals?
Yeah.
Yes, so Oribos should actually be available on the alpha within the next week, so players will be able to visit it, check it out. Everything isn't hooked up there, but it'll be the beginnings of a functional hub. If you think back to Legion, there are a lot of parallels between the way Dalaran and class order halls interrelated. So things like your soulbinds and anima channeling devices that you're using to upgrade your covenant, those are going to be in your covenant sanctum. But Oribos is where other major services will be. Oribos is the nexus that has the interconnected flight paths to each of the 4 zones, as well as the place where you'll find portals back to Orgrimmar, Stormwind, places like that.
Yeah, so it's basically just the new capital city.
So this is our last question, actually.
All right,
Torghast is amazing, and we haven't seen all zones yet. We have seen that there is a loading screen between levels that it kind of breaks the experience and immersion of ascending through this tower. Is that something final, or are you gonna find another way to change floors and load levels?
I think we need loading screens sometimes.
That's an unfortunate technical limitation.
Yeah.
Particularly on just given the dynamic nature of Torghast, the levels need to be generated.
It's an interesting question.
Loaded on people's clients, and people have different internet connections, hard drives, all the rest.
Yeah.
And so that's why loading screens exist at a fundamental level. We agree, they are a bit immersion break. We may want to explore using some kind of different visual effect instead of just a loading screen with a blue bar to cover up those transitions.
Yeah.
Okay.
As much as we wish it could just be an instant transition where you go through the portal, you climb the stairs, and you're on the next level instantly, the realities of technology and getting the information loaded into computers' memories just aren't quite that way yet, but maybe one day.
So nothing's gonna change.
So just a question came up, since we
Okay.
have a couple more minutes, if that's okay.
Sure.
We were wondering if, lore related, is it possible to travel from Shadowlands back to the mainland?
Yes.
In the lore.
We're not stuck in the Shadowlands. The reality
in
is
the
we're not-
lore.
even gameplay-wise, even if we wanted to tell that story, at some point, gameplay needs to override even those lore concerns. So we would never set up a world where players can't revisit the old world to do transmog.
That'd be kind of funny if they
play
did
with
that,
their
though.
friends and do all the content there. Initially, as players venture into the Shadowlands, you will fight your way out of the maw, find an escape that was thought to be impossible, and as you establish an initial, foundation in Oribos, at that point you'll be able to forge a connection back to Azeroth, back to Orgrimmar, or
10 minutes after you go to the Shadowlands.
We'll let you move back.
Basically.
It also lets us bring a few other
sense.
characters from the world of living, from Azeroth, into the Shadowlands to
of
work
course.
with us and aid us. A notable example will be Bolvar. Right? Bolvar, the fallen Lich King, who has unique insight into the power of death and this bridge between the two worlds.
Bolvar being on our
will
side
in many
again.
ways be someone who helps us with guidance and valuable information.
So Bolvar is the new Khadgar?
Cool. So they're asking that they're missing Bolvar, and I just mentioned it. Is there any chance we're gonna see more about him pre-expansion?
Yeah, with like him
I would
being
say
the Lich King.
chances are high.
Chances are high.
All right, so it's gonna
because
happen. Just say yes. Ian, just say
he's
yes.
the one who was there when
Yeah,
this
he was
portal
there.
into the Shadowlands was open.
Come on.
I can confirm he did not die. Sylvanas did not kill him in that confrontation.
Oh, he's
After
so
the helm
lucky.
was shattered, she left him broken, battered, on the edge of death, but still alive. And he is going to be a valuable source of information to the whole world regarding what happened, and will be key in pre-patch events and our initial kind of planning of our counterattack against the armies of the Jailer, against the forces of death.
Yeah.
All right. They're asking
I
about.
don't remember.
There has been 2 raids, and we have seen we know only about one of them.
Yeah.
When are we gonna know about the other one?
Okay. Well, I don't remember them saying 2 raids.
I'm not sure I'm understanding. Castle Nathria is the raid that will be available.
Yeah, that's the first
when
raid.
Shadowlands launches. Of course, we have other raids planned for later patches.
Oh,
but
that's
just
good.
as Uldir was
that's
there
good.
as the first raid at the start of Battle for Azeroth, here we have Castle Nathria in Requiem.
Dice que es el castillo de Nadria,
Sí, la
banda
primera,
que va a
sí.
estar. Sí, no ha dicho nada de otra.
Vale, bueno, pues estaremos pendientes. Bueno, pues por mi parte, muchísimas gracias a todos. La última pregunta. Gracias a todos los que habéis estado viendo. Y thank you so much, Ion, for the interview and this opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for the great questions. And I hope to talk to you again in the future.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, thanks you for your time, and I'll see you again.
There we go.
Pues chicos,
Take care.
Okay, that was a.
nosotros en unos minutitos, ¿vale?
I think they asked some good questions there. For the most part, I mean, like the last questions, I think they kind of just came up with those on the spot since they were kind of out of their the questions that they had kind of defined that they were going to ask, and then I just added a few on the end. But overall, I think those questions were pretty good.